There's no question rights to talk about that students, working professionals and employers are committing mistake while pronouncing a versus sound. I am talking about what is the difference between, I would say, the man versus men. What's the difference between the ant versus ant? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to teach you these two specific sounds. And the reason is, here we have two different variations. When we say a, so a actually this is called, I would say, diphthongs, right? In linguistics we call it diphthongs. पर आपको diphthongs ये क्या है, वो अगर अच्छे तरीके से समझना है तो वो तो क्लासेस में पॉसिबल होगी, फिर भी मैं जितनी कोशिश मैं कर सकता हूँ मैं आपको समझाने की, बताने की और सिखलाने की कोशिश ज़रूर करूँगा। तो सबसे पहले दोबारा शुरुआत वहाँ से करते हैं जहाँ से मैंने शुरू किया था, राइट? तो मैंने आपको क्या बोला, in this lesson we're gonna cover two different sounds, and the sounds are like an versus an. It means the man versus men. अब गलती कहाँ पे होती है समझिए. So in this today's episode I will be teaching you by following my three different formats. Firstly, I will be teaching you the mouth position. Second, I will be letting you know about the tongue position. And third, I will be letting you know what is the difference between American sounds and the British version of pronunciation. Right? So ready to go? Let's get started. So first thing, if I talk about the a, so इसको हम लोग diphthongs बोलते हैं, right? और diphthong का category वो होता है जहाँ पे दो sounds को combine करके एक sound बनाया जाता है. And if you talk about a sound, so here we have a and then it becomes a sound, right? On the second half, if you talk about a, so this is simply single sound. It's an, and then and then right? So आपको समझ में आ गया वो difference. Now let's understand the first position, that was the mouth position. So when we try to release, when we try to articulate the a sound, so here our mouth is supposed to be expanded even much more than we expect, of course, like it's a sound, right? Okay, and now let's talk about the tongue position. So when you release and when we try to articulate the a sound, so our jaws should be expanded like a, and if I talk about the tongue position, so it will be literally flat. It will be flat and it will automatically pull down like a. You see, my tongue is going down, my tongue is pulling down, right? So this is the tongue position. And if we talk about what is the difference between the British version and the American sounds, so before I teach you about this lesson, let's try to compare. जब मैंने आपको mouth position बताया तो diphthong के condition में यानी कि a condition में mouth का position काफ़ी ज़्यादा रहता है, लेकिन मैं अगर मैं बात करूँ a वाला condition में simple जो होता है, it's a first sound and then a, very simple. You know, mouth is supposed to be narrowed और ये इतना ज़्यादा expanded version में नहीं open होता. फिर मैं बात करूँ tongue position के बारे में, तो जहाँ पे हम लोग ज़्यादा expanded form करते हैं like a, and यहाँ पे सिर्फ a. There is no difference, right? इस वाले condition में किसी तरीके से tongue की कोई positioning में बदलाव होता ही नहीं. Now let's talk about the difference between the American version and the British version, right? So basically अगर मैं बात करूँ a sound के बारे में जो होता है हमारा man, like ant, late, okay? So in this condition में तो यहाँ पे क्या होता है, American English में भी से a sound. For instance, class, right? Let's say late, and then say ant. But यहाँ पे क्या होता है? But when we talk about the British version of English, so a becomes a. अब इसको समझिए, अगर American accent में हम लोग ये बोलते हैं like class, so British में क्या हो जाता है? class. अगर मैं बोलूँ glass American में तो British में क्या हो जाएगा? glass. अगर मैं बोलूँ grass, so British में क्या हो जाएगा? grass. So you see, a becomes a sound in British version, right? So मुझे उम्मीद है आपको ये समझ में आएगा. चलिए हम लोग कंपेयर करते हैं, ठीक है, a वर्सेस a साउंड में, जिस मकसद से हम लोगों ने इस एपिसोड की शुरुआत की थी, राइट? तो पहला हमारा क्या है? मैन वर्सेस मैन, क्लास देन लेस, लेट्स से less and then less, and then say and versus and then let's say pack versus pack, and then let's say like damn versus damn, then and let's say like late, it's eight, and let's say lit. So you see the difference between a sound and sound. I believe कि आपको